All right, so thank you for coming in this afternoon. I'm here to provide a statement and answer whatever questions I can about ASIRT's decision regarding the officer-involved shooting death of Anthony Heffernan. Let me start by saying that this situation, an incident where an officer uses lethal force, is not one that we take lightly, nor the outcome anyone intends when responding to these dynamic and evolving calls. This is a call for service where our members entered into a hotel room with the intent to help a person in medical distress. The circumstances obviously didn't result in the outcome we would have wanted, but one that, after a thorough and independent investigation, has determined that criminal charges will not be laid. Please know, we have not yet received a copy of the ASIRT decision in this case. When we do, we will need the time to read through it and make determination based on the information that they have compiled. I can say that this situation has given us an opportunity to review our training and tactics when dealing with those with mental health and addiction issues. Thousands of times a year we respond to calls for those with mental health or addiction challenges. The overwhelming majority of these calls end with our members being able to engage the appropriate partner agencies to assist in getting help to those who need it most. This, however, is of no consolation to anyone involved in this case, including the members of the Heffernan family. As such, we are working towards a significantly bolstered mental health strategy when dealing with our vulnerable population in an aim to always ensure that we are providing the best and most appropriate service given the circumstances we are faced with. In our profession, we are aware that our use of police powers comes, or with that use of our police powers comes a heightened requirement for transparency and accountability. And it's through accountability that we ensure our policies, standards, training, and tactics are aligned with the constantly evolving expectations of the community we serve. Without candid answerability to community concerns, policing would lose its credibility. The member involved in this incident is assigned to administrative duties and continues to receive support from me, the service, and the Calgary Police Association. I will now answer what questions I can, but please appreciate that there remains an internal investigation into this matter as well as a potential for other legal avenues to be taken, so I may be limited in what I can say, but I'll do the best I can to answer all your questions.
Chief, both the Crown and ASIRT said that there was evidence an offense had been committed, just not to the extent where it could be prosecuted. What's your reaction to knowing they had held those opinions and that member is still working?
Well, again, we'll await our review of the file as well. As I said earlier, we haven't had a chance to actually go through it at all. We just got a verbal briefing on the file just a couple of days ago, so I'll take some time to look through it and see what's actually in there at this point.
You said you're going to look at the file and then make determinations based on what you find in there. What kind of determinations will you be considering?
Well, there's other things to consider, right? We're still subject to a Police Act investigation, so we'll look at it from that standpoint as well. We have jurisdiction to retain that investigation, make sure that if there's public and or service issues involved, we'll investigate that thoroughly and sort of understand it better from that aspect. So as you said, the criminal standard wasn't met in terms of going to prosecution, but there's still other avenues we have to sort of look at.
The family was calling for officers to wear body cameras. I know that's something in the works. Is that something that you think might have changed things or assist in other similar types of situations?
We're strongly committed to those body-worn cameras. It's something that, again, it adds to heightened transparency and accountability. I don't know, there's no way to determine what would have happened retrospectively with those. We just know as a community and as a police service that those cameras would help us understand better what was going on and what people are seeing, and particularly in these sort of chaotic environments.
Chief, it sounds like the officer's off the street now doing administrative duty, if I heard you right there. Why wasn't he or she, I think it's a he, right after the shooting? He was involved in the McQueen shooting a short time later. Why now and not then? We
make our determinations for fitness for duty based on all sorts of assessments. So the situation changes over time with that are unique to each member, whether it be health or other concerns. So the member was properly assigned. He's was properly assigned originally, and he remains properly assigned now as we work through his own particular issues.
What are you going to say to the public when it comes to trust? I think that's probably the biggest question today. You've got the one group assigned to police the police saying something's amiss here. How do you address that as the police service back to the public now?
We very much stand on the fact that the policing has to keep evolving. We have to keep getting better at what we do. Calls like this, similar calls like this, we go to thousands of times in a year, and we take the best of what we can do with our partners and our practices to make sure nobody is injured or hurt, including our members. And mostly it happens extremely well. Things that we never talk about in the public, just how often our strategies and our tactics put people into care properly so they're being assessed. Every situation, though, spins on its own particular dynamics, and it can change in a second. And so our officers are asked to make decisions based on what's before them at the time, and they can happen rapidly, they can happen chaotically, and we by and large do an excellent job. So the trust for us is now our ability to go through our practices, our policies, our standards, and review what we can to evolve our business to make sure we're able to present the best level of policing that we can for Calgarians, because they deserve it.
Do you have any idea how long an internal investigation or review of the case might take?
I haven't even seen the file yet, nor has anybody in the service seen the actual file. So it'll take some time to read it, but we have, the important thing for us is we've maintained jurisdiction on this. We're able to go through a thorough administrative review, a thorough police act investigation where it would be required, if it's required. I'll have to see if there are particular allegations here that weren't covered off by the criminal side, and we'll go through that. We'll take every step we can to make sure it's done thoroughly. We'll anticipate the fatality inquiry as well, and any other sort of civil matters that occur with this. We will participate fully.
So when do you hope, or can you give us a ballpark estimate on when we'll know for sure if this officer will remain on administrative duty, whether he will be relieved, whether he'll be back on the street? When do you expect this all to be finally figured out?
The only reason to, if new facts come about in terms of an internal investigation, if there's more facts come to play for me that I don't already know, I would anticipate a change in the status until new facts come to light. So it would only be if it happens, and we generally don't discuss our HR matters in that way, but the status would change if something different came out of this that I haven't previously seen.
What could change in light of this situation? What within CPS, what changes are you guys looking at making in response to this?
Well, we're doing a thorough, complete analysis of our use of force training and conduct for the whole organization. So we are going through a very comprehensive look at everything we're doing right now, understanding it from A to Z. We're also doing independent analysis of our specialty areas, such as our tactical response, our areas of the service that are more apt to be involved in lethal force encounters. We're doing a thorough independent audit of what they're doing and their policies, their training, their standards. We'll make sure that we have clear visibility into where we're going. Our mental health strategy is another important part of this. Although the service has done a lot of work in the last several years of engaging people in terms of what we can do more thoughtfully with those who are struggling from mental health issues, we still have to do more. We know that using the justice system and policing to deal with those who are in crisis is not necessarily the best outcome. People who are really struggling and being put in front of the police in chaotic environments can have these very tragic outcomes. Getting them into the care, getting them into the help they need is really what we're trying to accomplish. And we know in the city right now, with the levels of addictions going on and the kind of mental health issues we have and the challenges we have as an economy, we're going to have to do better work. And that's our goal here, is to make sure we keep doing better work.
And when it comes to the internal investigation, what are the range of outcomes that could come about? Is that, what are some of the possibilities that
Both in the Police Act, there are some prescribed ranges of potential that could happen in any investigation. They range from administrative sanctions, written warnings, that kind of thing, all the way up the chain to dismissal. So there's a prescribed set of leveling that happens with any internal investigation.
So just back to what I asked before, so you can't say when you expect that to be completed?
No, not at this point. Not until I have a chance to. Like I said, we haven't even seen the file yet.
The family was at the press conference with ASIRT earlier today, and they were very clear that they thought that this was and they used I believe they used the term murder being swept under the rug, or something very, very close to that. How do you respond to that?
Family lost a son. I completely empathize with their grief and the level of concern they have for this. So there's nothing more we say. We're all parents. No one would want to lose a son to an encounter with law enforcement, and they wish things could have been done better as well. So I completely sympathize with where they're at, and hope that through time we will work through this together.
And that being said, you said you haven't read the file yet, but you said unless new facts were to come forward here, based on what you do know, and obviously you know a lot as the chief of police, your personal opinion, when you look back on what is known about this case and this officer specifically, how would you, based on what you know, how would you assess this officer's behavior?
Honestly, you assess this as a chief, you assess this based on the fact that our officers are presented with very, very difficult situations to deal with. You go into a call with the intention to help, with intention to provide, to assist somebody who's obviously in medical distress, and as these things unravel in front of you in very short periods of time, we want our officers to be in the best possible position to make good decisions on that thing, but decisions are based on the human condition, or what each one of us perceives as threat, and how to respond to those threats is different. And so you want to make sure that we are continuing to do the best we can to make sure our officers are making good decisions and the best decisions they can in the moment. But it's when I see it, that's what strikes me more than anything. Again, it always reminds me just how good a work we do on a day-to-day basis, but how difficult these things can be when tragedy lands on us.
But Chief, this appears to be the closest we've ever come to seeing an officer charged in relation to a fatal shooting. Do you have just any kind of general reaction to the fact that ASIRT recommended criminal charges here?
Well, it strongly concerns me. I've said this to the organization many times, that our senior staff and the association, anybody that will listen, that my goal for chief, my goal as a chief, my responsibility as chief is make sure that doesn't happen to us, that we present the kind of supervision and accountability and training and policies and the adherence to these standards, so we don't see a member up on the stand facing criminal charges for something that could have been prevented. So I'm very much, it strikes home with me. It should strike home with everybody in policing. When you see the incident in Toronto lately and the things that go on there, these things have to be met. We have to be able to deliver a level of policing that we don't put our members in a position that they may do something and we'll find them up there. So I'm hugely concerned by it, but it's my responsibility to make sure that we move forward from this and we do better.
Are you able to say how that officer is feeling about all this? Or?
I've not talked to him yet, so but we'll have a chance to talk to him down the road. So I know it's something that's bothered him as well.
What is the time frame for the body cameras?
You know what? The time frame is, we're a little bit slow right now, but we're gonna, because of some issues we had with the software issues within the devices that we purchased, we're working through it, and I'm just pushing as hard as I can to get them out. Again, the cameras in themselves don't change this. You can't retrospectively say that would have changed this situation. Going forward, I want them there. I want to make sure our members are able to more accurately be able to describe what happened and what they're seeing at the times of making decisions, and just to help both the public confidence and member confidence is something it's important to do, but because it's involving an acquisition and there's some struggles with repair that we'll just have to work through it thoughtfully, but there's no delay on our side. I just want to make sure it gets done.
You said you're not sure if this would change the situation, but there were really conflicting witness reports, either that the officer lunged or stepped towards Anthony Heffernan. I mean, wouldn't that make a huge difference?
It makes a difference in how it's reviewed at the end of the day, but in terms of what actually happened, decision making at the time, I doubt it would have changed the decision making. But as we review things, we get a better chance to see. The more opportunity we have to have accurate assessment of decision points and information, and the environment people are in, the better we can be for the idea of trust, where the community can say, I get what happened there. They may not like the outcomes, but where trust is fostered by more visibility, more transparency, and more accountability. So it's something I think it helps retrospectively. Just the idea about would it have changed the outcome of this event, probably not.
Given that, would it have been more of a service to you as a police service to have had this go to court and have this discussed in a public forum where everybody could hear, see what was going on, and know the details the same as you?
You know what? The standard of review is so high in this province. I'm very comfortable that if the Crown made a decision based on objective reasoning, on a real thorough review, the easiest answer may have been an inappropriate answer too, just to do this, just to make everybody comfortable. I very much trust that in such a difficult and personal issue that they made the most objective decision possible, and I think that all Albertans should sort of get that the easiest thing here may have been the wrong decision.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.